So we're here to talk about insurance, and we were talking before we came on, and we said, whose idea was it to put the insurance guys before lunch? And Eric profoundly exclaimed that, well, it's better than after lunch. So we'll try to keep this engaging, and again, this is a great audience here in Andrews. And one thing that we talked about, and one thing that everyone, whether you're a homeowner or vehicle owner or business person, you work for an insurance carrier. Texas Mutual is focused on workers' compensation insurance, and they do a tremendous job. They're the largest workers' comp provider in Texas. But you have insights into the broader insurance industry, and we've all know just from opening our mailboxes and seeing some increased rates and what's been going on in the insurance industry that you can touch on between either workers' compensation, home, auto, commercial, and otherwise.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a mess out there. If you're not in the workers' compensation insurance line of business, everything else is a mess. And I don't say that because I work for Texas Mutual and a workers' comp-based company, but you can look out there across any insurance carrier. Most of them write multiple lines of insurance. We write one singular line, and we try to do it real well, and we've helped create a safe environment. But you think about these accident statistics here just in the Permian Basin. Widen that scope out to the state of Texas or to the U.S., and we just had a little update meeting that was presented, and it takes all the data that all the carriers across the top 50 carriers provide, and it's anomalized in what it shows us in 2023 commercial auto insurance. A combined ratio for an insurance company was 109.2%, and a combined ratio is what expenses of the organization and claims. So they're losing 9% relative to that. Now that doesn't mean they're losing money because they invest it in the market, et cetera, but true year-to-year combined loss ratio, 109%. Personal auto, 104.9%. We probably all as individuals see that each and every day. If you've had teenage drivers, you go through that, it makes sense. Why is this? You have these massive deaths, you have these unfortunate crashes, you have technology and automation in vehicles, the cost of repair. I mean, has anybody dented a tailgate on it's not made of complete steel, it's stainless combination, whatever. That tailgate used to be a few $100s, now it's a few $1,000s. You think about those, and those are the things that drive us. So it's not getting better, and then on top of all of those things, if you look at homeowners is almost 111% combined ratio. It's crazy. I'm really nervous for my quote to come in November for my homeowners relative to that. That's, cost of goods are up, supply chain issues, natural disasters, et cetera, that line of business, not everybody wants to dip their toe into it anymore. So it's impacting all of us, and I say that because we all have a piece in that approach, and it starts with roadway safety. We can help in that commercial auto and the personal auto specifically if we pay a little bit more attention, if we follow some of the best practices to be better, because and I understand when you're investing that much in your insurance costs, it's harder to invest in your employees, it's harder to invest in safety. But if you do and you have the best record, you're going to get the best rates from your carriers.
That's good. Also, do you want to touch on, there is an anomaly. You mentioned at the very beginning that rates in workers' compensation are actually decreasing, and so that is workplaces are putting more of an emphasis on safety, and so that is a positive in the insurance space. And so Texas Mutual it's always good to get news, and Texas Mutual is famous for their dividend programs, and so the TXOGA Safety Group, one of the attractive selling points to it, it's a member benefit for oil and gas companies that are members of TXOGA. You can join for $100 the first year, $150 after that every year. And the benefits that come from being a TXOGA member, access to our insurance programs. And so we have an association health plan that is for Texans and the Blue Cross and Blue Shield network for companies between 2 and 50 employees. and just a low barrier for entry. Then one of the most powerful things in being a TXOGA member is you're a really strong voice at the Capitol, but also the other benefits that come from it, such as the association health plan and access to the workers' compensation safety group. You also get a discount on your premium and then the 2 dividends. But Texas Mutual, I know a lot of insurance agents and policyholders have been encouraged and relieved to continue to receive those dividends, and you usually get 2 if you're in the TXOGA group.
Yeah, just show of hands that anybody that handles the insurance, is Texas Mutual your partner on that? Yeah, see a few hands. Workers' compensation, I referenced it earlier, it's the most affordable, and I would dare to say and challenge that it's the most important because it's there to take care of the injured worker. A lot of things are accidents. I agree with the motor vehicle crashes. They're behavioral, and they are crashes. A lot of other things, there are factors that come into play, but sometimes, we're not perfect all the time, and things will happen. Rates have continued to drop and decline in the workers' compensation market. Why is that? Because we're a big presence in Texas. We work heavy and hard to help control medical inflation, medical treatment. We promote the return to work aspect of it. And then in the business side, we've seen improvements in all aspects of the job, replacing chemicals with less potent chemicals, increasing automation, et cetera. All those things come into factor to help provide better results, which ultimately make the line of insurance significantly affordable. And it allows us, when we're good stewards of the money for the businesses here in Texas, which we are, we're able to give back dividends every year to the safest performing companies out there. And since 1999, we've invested $4.4 billion straight back to our policyholders, $350 million dividend last year, in addition to our partnerships with TXOGA and other industry associations out there that perform well, and we pump the dividends back to them to be able to invest back in their core members. So it's very important to us. I would love nothing more than to get through one day where we didn't have a death on the roadway or a serious disabling injury in Texas. I know it's probably something that's unattainable, but if we could at least get through one day, 24-hour period in Texas without a death on the roadway, we would have one heck of a good celebration, for sure.
So I know that this organization does a tremendous job, and the focus is road safety. And a big part of this region and these communities out here is the oil and gas industry, and it's such a part of the fabric of these communities. And we know that working in this industry can be dangerous, and so we're talking about the workforce broadly, not those that are going on lease roads, but maybe they're in the fab shop, or maybe they're back in the office. And let's talk about some of the other areas where this is beyond just the road safety issue, but what are some of the other claims or losses or incidents that we're focusing on as a workers' comp organization in the oil and gas space?
Sure. So motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death in the workplace, number one. Behind that, we see falls, but the emerging trend right now, and it's just going to continue to get worse if we don't address it, is heat-related illness. It's something that OSHA is now focused on and looking at. I know a lot of people are doing a lot of good things relative to it, but time and time again, I see those heat-related illness serious claims come across my desk, and when you dive into it, it's because we don't have a little care and compassion and planning for our folks relative to it. I live in Lubbock, and they're doing the new outer loop around Lubbock, so it is a construction nightmare out south where I live, and there are heavy dirt trucks moving across 2 major thoroughfares, and on those thoroughfares they have people stationed there to step out, stop traffic with their signage, and allow the trucks to cross. Every one of I stopped the other day on the hill and got out my binoculars and just looked. I was curious. We don't insure them, but I was going to stop and have some educational opportunities if it didn't meet what I thought was satisfactory for them. And every one of those individuals out there, they had a little shade tent, they had 5-gallon water, they had a chair to sit in, so they had shade, and they had all of the nice cooling gear, et cetera, kind of like those nice little towels you got back there on the table.
Make sure on your way out, everybody grab a cooling towel on your way out. Thanks for pointing that out.
So I was very pleased to sit back and observe, and what that told me was that large construction company really gave a dang about those employees out there, because I know I wouldn't like to sit off the side of a roadway with very horrible drivers out there, and it's been for 7 or 8 days straight, 100 to 105 in Lubbock, and if the wind blows, it's like a blowtorch. So you think about that aspect, they're doing what they need to protect those workers and make it a safer environment, or as safe as they possibly can. So I'm going to challenge each one of you to begin to think about that. And I know you guys, a lot of you have done a lot of great work in that, because you're in the oil field. There's a lot of times you have to FRC, technology's involved. You've had to do those things, but there's probably, or not probably, by the end of the year, you'll probably see something introduced into the Federal Register by OSHA asking for comments relative to it, and it's going to have some specific baselines that you have to begin to deal with, because I've seen some very tragic situations where employers don't do their basic due diligence, and that seems to be the biggest thing in the emerging. And I would encourage you to whether it's in the driving side or in heat-related illness or falls, etc., is pause and embrace technology. There's some very nice heat-related monitors that are like a diabetic monitor that you can utilize to help understand when an employee is susceptible. There's some great technology that's just hitting the market if you use ladders frequently. And we've had IVMS. It does its part. If you guys as leaders don't do your part in holding your people accountable, training and educating and enforcing, it doesn't do a lot. But there's technology that can, you know what, you can lock down a cell phone. I did it on my kids when they were all teenage drivers, and when they're on their own and they're paying their own bills, they can make their own decisions. But when they report to me, and I support them in that, when they were in motion, whether they were a passenger or not, I didn't care, their phone was locked down. And I utilized the technology to do that. So I encourage you to take some of those steps and become more accountable and ultimately improve bit by bit.
That's great. I wanted to just touch briefly on some of the safety resources that are available. TXOGA is proud that we recently launched a TXOGA Safety Talks initiative. Members of our safety group and members of the association get a twice monthly email. It is a safety meeting and an email. Sometimes, your safety folks and your team, you always want to have a safety minute or safety briefing on your agenda for every meeting you have. And these are touching on some of the more critical areas that are happening for incidents. And so that's something that we've been asked by folks that are members, as well as our insurance agent partners. And so I know that Texas Mutual has some unique safety resources that are available to policyholders. In addition to the Texas Department of Insurance has some free resources as well. Can you touch on some of the resources you have available?
Yeah, absolutely. We have something very similar, Toolbox Talks, to help create the moment, educate the individuals to make it very, very nice and user-friendly. If you're not a Texas Mutual policyholder, still email us or find me. I'll give you an email. We'll put you on the subscription list so we can push that info to you, because we're not just here for our policyholders. We're here for every business and every community to try to help create a safer community. And whether it's Texas Mutual or any insurance carrier out there, I challenge you to leverage and lean on your insurance carrier's safety tools and components they have and their expertise. We have a comprehensive resource of written programs, training aids, bulletins that help complement your efforts. We have a very comprehensive learning management or e-learning system that you can utilize, and we have streaming content. So if you have cell service and the ability to get out there and grab it, you can do a quick toolbox talk relative to that, and you're seeing some videos similar to what Sergeant Blanco showed up there that helps drive home the point related to it, because I'd be remiss if I didn't. He shared some awesome statistics. I went and looked at Texas Mutual, 77,000 policyholders in the state of Texas, just under 2 million covered lives relative to that. In 2024, and we average about 150 to 160 fatal workplace claims a year. 42% so far to date have been motor vehicle crashes. In 2023, 39%, 2022, 40%. So it's hovering in that range, and it's getting worse. And when I say the impact of that, if you put it into financial figures for you, and I'm going to steal his average age of that 36 to 40, what the beneficiary receives in the death income benefit to help them sustain through life is the average age expectancy for an average male. So I don't know what that is, but if we're dying, if we're killing our workers out there and our people at average age 40, I plan to live to at least 80, 85. You think about that, and that's how that claim is figured. So very easily, if you're a business and you have a death on the roadway, what does that mean? The insurance carrier is paying out $1.5 million, close to $2 million, relative to that over the life expectancy of that. And that comes back specifically to affect you. We all know it can affect prices, it can affect your ability to obtain bids, etc., the reputational harm that goes with it, etc. So you need to do everything within your control to change the behavior of your employees and drive that down into their family members so we begin to make a difference.
Now, Texas Mutual is such a great community partner, and I know part of the revenue that you get is poured back into communities. I think there's a community grant cycling that's opening or maybe opened recently, both for workplace safety, but also just for, I think it's lifelong learning. Can you touch any on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We just offered a $2 million grant to businesses across the state that we insure. We executed that in a matter of 3.5 hours. We had the applications complete and the funds expired. Right now, we just opened up from the community philanthropic aspect some additional safety training, education, and focus in the nonprofits. And so if I challenge you guys, if you're affiliated or have passion related to that, go to our website, look at it. We're taking applications now so we can help support those communities in increasing safety education as well as career and technology investment for those folks.
Well, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on? Did you mention the OSHA items that are going to be looking out?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And you know, with an election, you never know what happens, and they change things. But I would go ahead and guarantee we're going to see something related to heat that's going to come in. So you might as well be proactive, and you can go out there right now and look at what they've proposed. And mirror it up to what you're doing now or not doing now, and begin to set the basis, not to be in compliance with OSHA. I could care less about that. It's to take care of your employees, most importantly.